Hello and welcome to Impact Africa, our online talk show where we get to have conversations with diverse people and organizations who are impacting lives positively or have impacted lives in various forms. And yes, this is your girl, Kemi Adebayo, aka Mama K. And in today's special series program focusing on global, and we are focusing on USA, I've got with me a dear uncle, gentle, smart, intelligent, is a complete gentleman. Mr. Adebola Ogutuga is an highly experienced diplomat and ambassador and is based in Atlanta, USA. Uncle, welcome to Impact Africa. How are you today?
I'm very well. Thank you, Mama K, for having me on the program.
It's a pleasure. So, where were you born? How was life growing up for you?
I was born in Isoyin. I was born in May 22nd.
Okay.
And I was called a worm when I was given.
Why was that?
Because I was really tiny.
Tiny. Ah.
When I came and people didn't know I would live.
Wow.
Till the following day or till the following second.
Really?
But here I am today.
Wow, we praise God.
With grown up and with stature, and by the grace of God, I am who I am today.
Awesome.
No longer a worm.
No longer a worm. So you were born in Isoyin and you come from a big family. What position are you in the family?
Yeah, I was born in Isoyin. Isoyin is northeast of Ogun State.
In Nigeria?
And it's Ijebu by culture or tradition. And I'm from a big family, as you said. I'm number 13. Wow. And 13 is a blessed number for me.
You. I agree, because my son too was born on the 13th of February.
People always talk about 13, the superstition behind it. Yeah. But it has been a blessing for me. When good things happen, it happens on 13.
Awesome. So, how was life growing up for you and where did you school exactly?
Growing up, I was traveling initially with my father.
Okay.
He was a treasurer, district treasurer.
Okay.
Which we call an accountant today.
Right.
Of a district. And he was always traveling. He was being transferred from one place to the other. We lived in Ijebu-ode, Ijebu-ode, Ondo, Abeokuta.
Wow.
And several other places.
Because was he working with a church or
no,
government?
He was working his government, district treasurer.
Okay.
He was working with then Western region of Nigeria.
Of Nigeria at that time.
And it was being moved all around, and we were going. I went to about 5 or 6 primary schools.
Really?
Including St. Paul's School, Igbore,
right,
in Abeokuta, Ogun State of Nigeria.
Okay.
But I ended it in Seventh-day Adventist in Abule-Oja, Lagos.
Okay.
When my parents saw that the movement was affecting me and my education progress, I was sent to Lagos, and I initially stayed with my uncle.
Okay.
Uncle Francis Omotayo Cole Osholabi.
Okay.
And he was living on McLean Street, so I walked down to the school, All Saints School, in Yaba, which was on Montgomery.
Okay.
But as I said, I ended up with Seventh-day Adventist.
So what about your secondary school?
I went to Ijebu-ode Grammar School.
Okay. That's a very popular school.
Well, that's the school, and which was again founded in 1913. Wow. Remarkably. I told you about the 13. It was founded January 1913. And I went to that school, and I was there for 5 years, where I passed out. And life continues from there.
So how did you get into the diplomatic service? When and why?
I got into diplomatic service by default. Okay. I must say.
Okay.
Because when I finished secondary school, I didn't go to college immediately, so I had to get something doing. And I was looking for a job elsewhere. I was actually focused on going to banks.
Right.
And I did some interviews at the bank. And my sister, my immediate senior sister, Olabisi Ayeni, Mrs. Olabisi Ayeni, then came to me one day and said, well, have they called you for this interview with bank? You've done interview, have they called you to resume? And I said, no, I'm still waiting. I did about 3 or 4 banks at the time. And then she said, well, why don't you try Ministry of Foreign Affairs? I can get you interviewed there. And remarkably, she brought a letter the following day.
Wow. Just like that.
Requesting me to come for an interview. And I went. And lo and behold, I joined the Foreign Service. But I joined the Foreign Service as a clerk.
Okay.
I joined the Foreign Service as a clerk.
So you walked your way up. Basically.
And I walked my way up. I rose through the ranks. And thank God, I rose through the ranks and I became Ambassador of Nigeria.
Wow. Tell us some of where you've served as an ambassador and your experience of, that.
I started my real career as a diplomat.
Okay.
In the US, where we are today. I was in New York. I was posted to New York as a vice consul at the time. And I worked in New York for 2 years, exactly 2 years. And again, I should talk about the number 13. I arrived in New York 13th of January.
That number 13 was just coming up anyway. Okay, interesting.
January 13th, 1980.
Right.
And
that must have been very cold at that time.
Yeah, it was very cold, and it was my first time in North America, I should say.
Okay.
And I had my experiences. I had the usual culture shock. And
like what? What was the biggest one for you?
The biggest one that I always share with people was I arrived very late, I think we arrived around 10 p.m. thereabout. And I had a cousin in Houston, Texas. He's still there, Dr. Kayode Okwobi. And I put a call through to him that I had arrived.
Okay.
And I was hungry. Apparently, I didn't eat in the plane.
Because you probably didn't like the food.
Oh, well, I can't remember. But he now said, and I said, there is no restaurant. He said, no, you can place order. Room service. Call for room service. I did, and they brought the food. And he told me, he said, if you order steak, make sure you tell them it should be well done. And I called and I told them, well done. But
to them, their well done is not...
They brought medium rare. And I couldn't eat it. And they brought a kind of cup. I would say very little, what you use like a coffee cup.
Okay.
And they put the rice inside. And so when I came, now that's the culture shock for me, because from where I'm coming from, Nigeria, when you say you want to eat, we talk about what the Americans or Europeans call the sidings. and they pay attention to the protein. But then I asked it was American Egyptian that served me. And when I opened the tray, I said, "Where is the rice?" And he said, "That's the rice." And I said, "No. When I ask for rice, I really want rice. Not this one. This is, I won't give my cats this." And he said, "If you want more, you can ask for it. But that's the portion for what you order."
Interesting.
Anyway, I managed to take, and I think it had some bread attached to it.
Right.
I was able to take the rolls and the rice,
right,
and cutting the edge,
right,
of the steak, which was dry,
okay,
without the blood. And
and
as I cut one,
yeah,
I had to take it, and it was like go to sleep, because I don't like blood.
Nobody does, but
yeah. So,
you know what?
So that was my experience.
I can imagine. We'll be right back. So, Uncle, wow, what a journey so far. A tiny, teeny one, as you said, from Isoyin, to going to schools with your dad, who was a treasurer, going from one city, I guess, to another in the western side, and then by default becoming, entering the foreign service. And then you came on your first service to New York. So from there, where did you go, and how has been the journey for you, and what did your work actually involve? What does your work, your main, just summary of what your work involves?
I was in charge of communication to
Okay.
start with.
Okay.
That was the primary assignment I had. I was in charge of communication. But added to that, I was on recruitment, federal government's recruitment into the civil service in Nigeria. I was involved where you have the commissioners from Federal Civil Service Commission come abroad once a year at that time to recruit Nigerians who have finished their education here.
Okay.
I was also involved in signing the letter for students' remittances.
Oh, right. Okay.
So students' remittances, they have to send money from Nigeria to maybe through their banks, or they have to get at that time approval from the central bank to remit the money for their school fees. And then I was also in charge of protocol.
Okay.
Which is one of the areas that I really enjoyed because it gave me contact
to meet
with many people, both the high and the low.
Okay,
and so it was a big experience for me.
I can imagine. So you served in which countries now? Just run through quickly.
I served in New York. I served in Guinea Bissau.
Okay.
I served in New Delhi, India. And I served in United Kingdom.
Okay, and which one was your favorite? I'm sure they're different.
All of them have their own characters. Each country has its own character.
Okay.
When I was sent to New York, I was a bachelor. So, and I was reading at that time one of Sidney Sheldon, if I remember correctly, his novel on The Adventurer. And it was a story of a diplomat. And I try to live
the
life of that. And I tried as much as possible. So each country had its own peculiarities. And I enjoyed all of them.
Right.
All of them. I can't put one over the other.
So can you speak any of the languages, like from India or Guinea Bissau was French, or what was
Portuguese?
Portuguese.
Okay.
So can you speak any
I picked some of of what they say, especially during conversation. I can pick a few things. I may not be able to respond in English, in Portuguese, and respond in English, but I understood what was being said. So I speak a little of French too.
Oh, you do? Oh, yeah. Okay.
I speak a little of French, and in India, yes, I just get by because they speak English anyway. Even though Hindi was the official language, but when they speak with diplomats, they speak in English.
So you're retired now?
Yes.
And when you retired, you became an etiquette consultant. Yes. Tell us a little bit about that.
I retired in 2008, actually, to be precise, December 2008.
Not on the 13th.
Not on the 13th this time around. Not on the 13th.
Okay.
However, I retired and I started this because before retirement, people have to plan what they have to do. And this is one area we should actually talk about.
Okay.
While I was working for government, I had the opportunity to work at the highest level of government. I was at the presidency. I worked with President Olusegun Obasanjo.
Baba Olusegun.
And it was an eye-opener for me. And when I was posted or deployed to that office from the foreign service, I met with a lady who has been a colleague, but we had never interacted until that time. In fact, each time I greeted her, she snubbed me kind of. And then we met, we were deployed at the same time to the State House, as we call it. And we worked with a boss who then said for continuity, he put two people together. And not just us,
other people, yes.
And he put two of us together so that when one is out, one is in to continue the job. And there we became good colleagues. We worked very well together. And one day she was entering the office where I was, and I said, something just told me to say, we've worked this well together. Shouldn't we be thinking of what we can do together when we leave the service? And she said, yes, let's go for it. And then we talked about it. That was on a Saturday. On Monday, we followed it up by registering the business name with the CAC. And that was on a Monday. That same Monday, a senior colleague and friend of mine called and said, somebody wants a protocol person to arrange an event for them. And I said, and he said, he thought about who could do it, and the only name that came up was me. And he then recommended me.
Okay.
And he said the man will call me. The man actually called me,
Okay.
John Ade, and he gave us the job.
So the job was specifically about protocols?
Yeah, it was trying to arrange an event.
Right.
And it was an event by Total upstream company in Nigeria.
Okay.
And that was after that. That's history. We did it. Both of us did it. We did it together, and the man was impressed, and he gave me subsequent jobs after that while I was still working.
Right.
And he actually helped us while we were still in the planning stage. This came about, and we thought, no, this is not by accident. It's God's doing. It was meant to be, and then we had to put everything we have into it. And then we started the etiquette, and we thought that if we are going to excel in whatever we do, because we needed to work with the spirit of excellence that we have been working together with. Yes. And so we said we need to train ourselves. So we registered and got ourselves trained first in etiquette.
Okay.
There's a school here in America where we got the training, and then we did another one for image. And after that, we have trained several people.
Wow.
They must run into thousands.
Oh, well done.
People that we have trained across Nigeria.
You know what? We'll be right back. Journey in terms of you in the service, being a diplomat and walking your way from being a clerk, you like you said at the beginning, to now becoming an ambassador and working with the presidency, then starting your own business with another colleague, and now I'm sure just looking back into some of what you've done. What are some of the challenges, you've had, in your career, either as a diplomat or ambassador, or even in terms of the protocol work, you were doing, and how, just share one or two with us, and how did you manage, to solve them?
Maybe I should take the one about protocol in particular, because it is in protocol, one mistake rubbishes all that you have done in the past or even at the time. And so you must always be on your toe. But what has guided me essentially is that in anything I do it as unto God. And I'm always cool, calm, and collected. That's the three.
I can testify to that.
Cool, calm, and connected. I don't panic about anything, and I have this prayer of serenity,
right?
Which I always say, God grant me that serenity to accept what I can change, what I cannot change, the courage to change what I can, and the wisdom to know the difference between what I can change and what I cannot. And so when there are so many challenges, particularly working at the presidency, people want to do things their way without following the protocol. And we have to follow the protocol. And many a times when we tell them, this is the way we have to do it, some of them who are close to the president will go and report us.
Wow.
But thankfully, the president
understood.
never questioned us. Rather, the feedback we get from those people was that the president would tell them, those people, they know what they are doing. So he left us alone. And that would have been the problem we'll have. So essentially, it's arranging events,
right,
and knowing what to do, when to do it, how to do it.
So, but you probably would have a team.
Yes, we usually have a team
that you delegate.
Yes, that we delegate, and we always stay on. We don't stay on what people want, because if you do that, you are going to make mistakes. But when you stay on what will a reasonable person do given the circumstance, that's what will guide you. And so you always, and then people do what they call motion without movement. We try as much as possible.
What's that one? I need to hear that one. They move, but they don't move.
There is no movement.
Motion without movement, okay.
Yeah, but you if you can, you don't have to do all that. When you move, there is progress in whatever you are doing. That's the essence of it. Right. And so I can't see any problem. When I was in New York, as I said, I was also in charge of protocol, and the president at that time visited, and that was President Shagari.
Okay. And
I had to rearrange all the vehicles, all the limousines, and so on. And the thing I encountered in doing that was when all the vehicles were lined up, security people came from Nigeria, and they used the equipment to sweep the vehicles to ensure that everything was clean and there was no.
Okay.
But the problem we had was that I did not request for enough vehicles, enough limo.
Okay.
And there was this man we were contacting, and I knew he had exhausted his fleet. And so I called another limousine company. And he got to know. And that's the original man who we had ordered several vehicles from, and said, no, even if you knew I exhausted my fleet, you should still have called me. I will do the arrangement. And I said I didn't know. And that was a big problem. Not from where I work, but from those I work with outside the consulate. And he made a big issue about it.
Okay.
And at the end of it, he came to my place. I didn't know how he got to know where I lived at the time. He came and he appeared. And he said, "This is where you live. I can furnish the place for you."
Oh.
And I said, "No, I don't need you to furnish this place." "Oh, what do you need? I can get it for you." And I said, "I don't need anything." And thankfully, I did not take anything from him. And I was told that they operate as mafia. And if you are taking something from him, you are now
at their beck and call.
Yes.
Wow, that's deep.
And they didn't pay his bill. They didn't settle his bill for his service in time. And it took weeks, and it became impatient. And one day he came to me and said, "Why are you not paying me? I gave you service. Why are you not paying me?" And I said, "It's not me." "Yes, you give service to the Consulate General."
With the system.
Yeah, it's the system. And he said, "Who is?" It's a big man, big in stature. A kind of giant, I would say. He was in the office, and I said, "Okay, come talk to my boss." I did it innocently. And he went there and he said, "Why did you refuse to my boss? Why did you refuse to pay for my services? I gave you good service and you refused." And he told my boss, "I have 3,000 insurance on you."
Yo. Those are the things
I did not know
at
that time what meant. But my boss knew what he was saying.
Yeah.
And he said, "Are you threatening me?"
Wow.
"Are you threatening me?" That was when I knew that there was something amiss. And of course, he said, "It's no threat, but I put 3,000 insurance on you." That's when he left. I asked my boss, "What was that all about, 3,000 insurance?" And he said, "He will give people 3,000 and they will take him out."
Wow. These are the things obviously we don't see when we see people working.
And I said, "Wow." And I told my boss, I said, "Do you know he even came to my house? And he said I was going to give furniture and
knowing your house?"
Yes. And I said, "I never gave him." He said,
"They know how they do it."
And he said, "I hope you didn't take anything." I said, "I didn't take." He even offered money. I said, "No, I'm not taking anything. I'm just doing service." And he said, "You are lucky, because if you are taking it, you are going to be one at his beck and call. Whatever he says, you have to do." That's the only problem I can remember in all my service in the foreign service.
Wow, interesting. We don't see all these things, but we'll be right back. What an interesting journey still. So over the years and what you've experienced and the challenges which you kind of gave on a few examples, some of which were with the diplomats and people working in the consul, the consul office and so on. We don't see, all these things and what, some of our ambassadors and so on experience. Can you share with us any kind of life lesson, that you have learned over the years? Just very quickly, because I know we could spend a whole program, on it. So, whereby if you wanted to advise a young person who comes and meets you and say, "Oh, you know what? I want to become an ambassador. I want to become a diplomat. I want to work in the foreign service," or whatever. So what are the life lessons, tips that you'll be able to give that person that has helped you personally?
Thank you for that question. I should start by saying, whatever you do in whatever profession, have a sense of vision and mission.
Okay.
Be focused and gain knowledge, because knowledge will give you confidence in whatever you do. Apart from having the confidence from God and wisdom from above, knowledge will give you that confidence, because you will be able to do or speak from position of strength.
Okay.
Position of strength you get from knowledge. So always educate yourself about what you are doing.
Right.
As I said earlier, whatever you do as unto God. Don't flurry, don't hurry, and don't worry. And that has been my motto.
Say the first one again.
Never flurry, never hurry, never worry. Because you can't change anything either by worrying. If you have to get somewhere early, leave home earlier, so you don't have to hurry. That's what I call people making motion without movement.
Right.
So don't hurry, don't flurry, don't worry.
Okay.
And don't worry, because everything will come together. If you know what you are doing. And it's important to do things right. I always enjoy, and maybe my knowledge of good manners, etiquette, and all of that tells me that when we do things in the right manner, we cannot, and with the spirit of excellence, we are bound. We can make mistake. We can make mistake.
Yes.
But we can correct ourselves even when such mistakes are made. So, and I always say that there is no mistake in protocol, for instance. You every situation, even where it appears to be a mistake, you turn to a new way of doing things. You are trying to experiment, and you find out that you come out strong. But what is essential is the sense of vision and mission, having focus. Be focused on whatever you do, and have this knowledge. Because knowledge, they say, is power.
Yes, power.
So be knowledgeable about whatever you do. And you excel in whatever area or profession or career.
It's applicable in all areas, basically.
Yeah,
those are deep. So now let's go from that to now Africa or Nigeria, which is my final question. In terms of social issues, like unemployment, poverty, crime, or anything, what social issues are you particularly concerned about, that maybe touches you personally? And rather than focus on the issues, what do you think are the solutions to that issue?
The solution, when you talk about Africa and you talk about social issues, one of the first things that comes to mind, or two things, is poverty. Poverty of the mind is there, and physical poverty is there. And what do you do about it? And my own belief is that, one, we need to get more people educated in Africa.
Okay.
Education is key if you have to live poverty behind. Education is key. No matter amount of money you give people, if they have this poverty of the mind, it will not impact them.
Right.
And a way to do that is again, in Africa, one of the problems we have is that the difficulties we get, if I can use Nigeria as an example, where you have unemployment, high rate of unemployment, and you'll find out what's the cause for this. My own answer to the problem is that government, one, is not creating the enable environment where competition will thrive. It's not creating wealth because there should be a conscious, deliberate, intentional wealth creation. And it's it's the government that actually will set it in motion.
Okay.
Where others
will follow. Okay. So you're not saying it's only about what the government needs to do, but they need to intentionally set it in motion for others, to follow. So why we don't have?
I think again it's the way we are in Africa and particularly in Nigeria. People are no longer, when people are elected to the office, it's not a service they want to render. It is the selfish interest that drives them to politics, to government. And so you don't see the result of the kind of service that is expected in the country.
So
again, you have also the followers. And by followers, I will talk about people graduating from universities, from higher institutions, and coming out and saying they have no job. There are so many things you can engage yourself in. You don't have to wait for that big job, white collar job, before you get yourself employed. You can become an employer of labor, and you can start from a small beginning. Start from a small beginning, and there are enormous things for people to engage themselves in, particularly graduates. I'll give you an example. In 1983, 84, between 83, 84, I was in Lagos and I was living in Aguda. Again, a section in Lagos State. And early in the morning, a young man came to me and he introduced himself very early in the morning. And he said he's been there during the day and I'm not there.
Okay.
Maybe I've gone to work. And he realized that I leave home very early.
Okay.
So he came very early, before 6 o'clock. He knocked on my door. And I said, "What is it? What are you looking for?" And he said he wanted to collect wanted to establish the collection of garbage.
Okay.
The garbage, you know, and I will pay him, and the amount was
talking amount.
Talking. And I said, "Is that why you called?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "You don't have any other thing doing apart from this, collecting garbage? Why are you collecting garbage?" And he told me his story that he finished as an engineer. And he had finished maybe 2 years before then.
No job.
And no job. And he thought about what to do. And he saw that the need of the environment was garbage. People throwing out garbage, and they wanted to collect them. Long story short, I gave him, he will bring the garbage bag, and he collects twice a week.
Right.
And that's it.
In 9 months,
he was using wheelbarrow at the beginning. In 9 months, he came to show me a brand new pickup.
Wow.
Brand new pickup. And I said, in my mind, garbage collection, pickup. He could have sat down at home
doing nothing.
But he didn't mind.
Yes.
That as an engineer,
there's
dignity in labor. Garbage. There's dignity in labor. So people just have to think.
They need to think outside the box.
What do they need in my area?
And there's a lot
what
of
is
need.
lacking?
There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot of
and you find something to engage that will bring in income for you.
Wow. Thank you, Ambassador. Let me go official now. Ambassador Adebola Ogutuga for that session. So in closing, I'll just want you to give a word of encouragement or advice to anyone out there that you feel you want to speak to. Young people, young men, women, anyone, you want to speak to. Closing.
Again, in closing, I have to thank you, Mama K, for this opportunity to share with you, with your audience, these few moments and my journey in life. To end it, I will say that people again should be determined to achieve the purpose for which they are created. We are all created for a purpose. And if we know that purpose and we try as much as possible to follow through, whatever we do, we try and follow through. We try and be conscientious. We try as much as possible to be consistent with determination, with the knowledge which I've talked about earlier. We'll gain confidence and we'll be able to aspire to whatever we have as our dream. As I said, I rose from being a clerk to becoming to the highest point in my career. It was, of course, through God's grace and determination to succeed in whatever I do. And we should try as much as possible to do all things with that spirit of excellence as unto God. As unto God. When we do that, we are not doing it for man. Do it as if the Lord is visiting you and going to commend what you are doing as unto the Lord. When you do that, you discover that you succeed in whatever you do, and you try as much as possible and give back. Give back. Have the when we give, it is more blessed to give than to receive. So we should try as much as possible to give back. And that is what I use the training outfits, consultancy I do to give back to society, even though I'm paid for it, but I'm sharing knowledge with people.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Ambassador Adebola Ogutuga. Well done for all you're doing, and thank you for sharing your story with us. And you might think, what have you done? In terms of impacting lives, or it's not something you want to be talking about. But however, I'm hoping through what you've shared today, it's not about even those you've impacted up till now, because you've impacted my life personally in a positive way, and I look up to you, as somebody who, like you said, calm, cool, collected, about excellence, very hardworking, very determined, willing, to support, and loyal, to family and friends. Those are the things for me that I've personally learned. So thank you and kudos to you for all you've done up till now, and wishing you all the very best, whatever plans God have for you. And I'm glad to hear that you're, looking into more of giving back, in whatever way, sharing, emptying yourself, putting your best foot forward, with those around you, which I know you're doing very well. So kudos to you. And on behalf of Nigerians that you've, served duly in all the countries that you've said, thank you. This is the only way for, somebody like me, to just say thank you on behalf of all the Nigerians you've served as a true, Nigerian with integrity, in the different countries that you've been posted to. So continue to wish you all the best. And yes, you've worked your way up, so thank you for the time, and everything else. So there you hear it.
Oh.
What were you going to say?
I was going to say thank you for having me.
Oh no, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure.
It's been an opportunity.
And it's an honor, a great honor that I'm doing this live, physical. So it's a great honor, for me as well. So, well, there you go. We could go on, and there's more, that we could, hear about the journey of this young man, still very, very young. even though you might think, it's rude, you don't even want to know how fit, he is and he keeps. So that's for another program entirely. So I hope you've been, encouraged, you've been inspired, hearing his story, and you've been impacted in one way or the other. And you heard him, try not to, don't flurry, don't hurry, don't worry. That's the first time I've heard that word. So for me, I'm going to use it with you. And at the same time, let's not try and do motion without movement. We need to move. It shouldn't be about doing all this, but we need to move. And be determined. With determination, you can succeed. Have the spirit of excellence. We've talked about that a lot of times. Be determined, and follow. There was something, it's a sense of vision. Always have a sense of vision and mission. You've heard it all. Till next time, this is Mama K signing off.